Good evening. It is 7:01, and I hereby call to order the October 2014 meeting of the Village of Tivoli Board of Trustees. Mayor Crana is at this moment in the middle of a 4-hour or plus meeting in Poughkeepsie that the county executive called for all municipalities in Dutchess County regarding shared services, ideas that are going to be mandated or strongly pushed by new laws in Albany regarding the tax rate, etc. So every municipality has to be there and find out what we're all going to have to do basically next fiscal year. So in his absence, I'm Deputy Mayor Joel Griffiths, and I'll be chairing the meeting tonight. Would you please join me and for the pledge to our flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. At this time, is there a motion to suspend the regular order such that the public can address us on agenda items only?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion passes, and hopefully you all had a chance to pick up the agenda on your way in. We are removing item 2, which reads Shared Services Summit Update. I believe Mayor Crana thought he would actually be here at this time and able to give that update, but since he's not, we don't have one for you. So we're pulling number 2. Would anyone like to discuss items 1, 3, 4, 5, or 6? Seeing no comment from the public at this time, of course, there'll be comment at the end of the meeting if something comes to mind. Is there a motion to return to regular business?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Motion carries. Village Clerk's report, Clerk Ganella?
Yes, the village clerk's office sold 613 garbage tags. We completed 2 payrolls. We are making final collections on the third quarter water bills, and there was attendance at a planning board workshop and meeting and ZBA meeting. And the office will be closed on Tuesday, November 11th in observance of Veterans Day.
Thank you very much. And I'd like to give a personal thanks to the clerk for having my back last month and this month as well. Appreciate it very much. We have 3 sets of minutes from previous meetings. This was a regular board meeting on September 17th. Public hearing meeting from October 8th. Hello, Trustees Rob. And regular workshop minutes from October 8th. You've all had a chance to review these. And is there a motion to accept the minutes as submitted?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
The minutes are accepted. Thank you. Treasurer's report.
In the general fund, $16,861.08 was spent. In the water fund, $5,495.06, and the sewer fund was $2,300.75 for a total of $24,656.89.
Thank you very much. And we do accepting the report followed by payment of the bills. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Is there a motion to accept the treasurer's report?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Report is accepted. Is there a motion to pay the bills?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Trustee Azrati, hope you've had a moment to settle in. Thanks for joining us. Happy to have you. And the zoning and building inspector report.
There is no zoning report because the zoning officer was on vacation during this period and did not submit one.
Okay.
There has, however, been a lot of zoning enforcement activity. We've seen probably 10 citations for garbage and unsafe circumstances, and that's being pursued.
Mm-hmm.
it's either being resolved by the property owner having corrected the problem, or it will be pursued. The next step will be to take it to court.
Thank you. Clerk Ganella, do we have any correspondence this month?
There was no correspondence.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to regular business. I think number one will be the most fun. I'd like to ask Shane Deegan to please stand and approach the board. And I'm going to turn it to my colleague, Trustee Bruno, and Shane will tell you about why he's here tonight.
Yes. To pinpoint the exact time when Shane had contacted me and had mentioned that he was choosing to do his complete his Eagle Scout project here in Tivoli, and he had some ideas that he presented to me and I brought up to the board. And if you've been through the park, you will see that he has completed this project. And with it was fundraising. He went to many local businesses, conducted a sub-night at the firehouse, raised the funds single-handedly, and has put a bench with an arbor. I believe you have pictures?
Yep. It's a double-sided bench, and it has an arbor over it, and there's 2 clematis plants on either side. So they're basically going to grow over. They're going to die over the winter, obviously, but they're perennial, so they'll come back. There's a foundation, like patio stones over stone dust. It's stained like a cedar color to try to keep it. It's made of cedar over pressure-treated wood. And then the bench is actually AZEC, so it's a plastic composite, so it won't rot. It'll stay the same. And it ended up costing about $2,200. And I'd like to thank the fire department for helping raise a large portion of that by having my fundraiser there, along with many local businesses and the cooperation of the village.
It's really beautiful. It's very handsome. It's a great addition to the park.
It is. And now you did have some help from your troop, should I call it? Yeah.
Overall, I think I put in the maximum time of about 50 hours, and it just went down from there. But I had 4 guys that came back every time. They put in almost the same amount of time I did. And the only reason I was able to do this project is because my scoutmaster knows how to build this stuff, and he came down every time, all the way from Skodak, to help build it.
Yeah. Well, I do recall that there were a couple of days where you did contact me and let me know that you'd be working over there, and there were a couple of days that it was hot. But you all did. You put in your time, and it's just it's a beautiful bench. And you think we could pass those photos around for the
Sure, yeah.
for the folks to see as we're here?
Well, the Village Board of Trustees would like to recognize Shane Deegan for the tireless efforts that he has put forth to earn his Eagle Scout ranking, and for the contribution that he has made to the community that he and his family call home. This is signed by Mayor Crana and Trustee Bruno. Shane, it's a great pleasure for me to present you with the certificate. Congratulations. Thank you very much.
It's been an absolute pleasure working with you. Thank you. So tomorrow, I think, does not look like the nicest day to be taking a stroll through the park, but a follow-up nice day. Do go in. It is beautiful, and to sit on both sides and
Where is it
have some
located,
quiet.
Robin?
It's if you drive into the park and you have the pavilion, it's set in the back toward the wood line, so it's a quiet, cozy
West
area.
of the pavilion, north of the equipment, along the tree line.
Yeah, so it's set off by itself, and
Contemplative spot.
yes, I've walked through and seen some folks just sitting and reading a book.
Well, we look forward to watching the plant grow and it continue to beautify. It's going to be great.
Yeah, next year will be even better.
Thank you very much. We have this item number 3 is a highway consolidation study update, and I'd like to turn the floor to Trustee Schneider, please.
The last public meeting that we held in regard to the shared services study, I know I mentioned it last month that it was up and coming, and that the report would center on the information that had been gathered on the current condition of equipment, and would serve to notify the public of avenues that we were starting to identify insofar as opportunities for sharing services and/or upgrading the quality of services that are provided between the three municipalities. The consultants, Tim Weideman from Rondout Consulting and also Peter Fairweather, were both present. Tim led the presentation and walked us through graphs and pages of information and made it make sense to the layperson in the audience, which was really fantastic. He fielded questions from the public and wrapped up the evening by engaging the audience in a engaging their participation in a exercise. He calls it a strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats exercise, which is really fantastic because it pulls feedback
So you were
from
on
the
SWAT teams, right?
SWAT. Yes. He did actually break us up into groups representing each municipality and then had us identify what we consider to be weaknesses or areas that are independent highway service departments, if you will, could improve upon, or and then had us identify areas that we felt they had a number of strengths. So it was really fantastic to see the participation of the audience and to get their input on the direction, areas that they felt needed to be included in the study, and just reviewing that scope of work. So if any of you were able to attend, I don't see any faces here tonight that I saw that night, but it was recorded on Panda, so you can access it through Panda. And additionally, if you go to the village website, you will see the link for the Rondout Consulting website that they established to keep the public abreast of any progress on the project. There is also an opportunity for public feedback through the website. Okay, so our next regularly scheduled steering committee meeting is set for October 28th at 4 p.m. It is tentatively scheduled for the town hall, but that piece needs to be confirmed. Again, the public is welcome at those steering committee meetings. However, there is not an opportunity for public comment during those meetings. Okay.
Thank you.
At the meeting, Tim had a lot of charts that he had up. They're also available on the website?
Those are actually in the report that is available online. It was available before he went through the public meeting. And revisions, I think there were a couple of areas that were identified that he wanted to tweak the numbers a little bit, and those should be available through the link from the village website for anybody to download and peruse. So,
Well, it seems the months are flying by. Can you remind us of when the study's to be completed?
we originally had roughly a 12-month time frame. We did experience a little bit of a delay with information gathering. On the flip side, that also identified an area that we need to focus on, and that is record keeping. However, we've been able to tweak it, if you will, or pull it back in line with our original time frame. So
is that February?
that should be,
Or
yes, no. I'm going to be honest with you, Joel,
Yeah,
I don't have
it's
it off the
late
top of my
winter.
head. Yes.
Originally, I think it was February.
It was February, and I
Right.
believe that
So-
we are still on track for that original wrap-up date.
Great. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Regular business number 4, resolution establishing election day. Clerk Ganella, do we have a date designated for that?
For election day?
Yeah.
Yes, March 18th.
Uh,
It would normally be the 17th, but that's St. Patrick's Day.
Okay. So
So Wednesday instead of a Tuesday.
It's a Wednesday instead of a Tuesday.
it's a Wednesday.
It's resolution number 14.
14.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm sure that's in my report, there, in my binder, there it is. Is there a motion to accept this resolution establishing Election Day in the Village of Tivoli for Wednesday, March 18th, 2015, between the hours of 12 noon and 9 p.m.?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? This will be for the office of mayor and for the office of 2 trustees next March 18th, 2015. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? And the motion carries, and we've set our election day for March 18th. Item number 5, resolution accepting the results of the Justice Court audit. Well, when I was looking over the agenda today, I was having some deja vu because we did something very similar last month, but apparently we just made a motion to accept it, and we need a stronger thing, like a resolution. So it's back on the agenda, and here it is. So I had read that last month. The Justice Court audit came back well. Is there a motion to accept the resolution for the results of the Justice Court audit? That was a motion made by Trustee Schneider,
Second.
seconded by Trustee Ezrati. Is there any discussion? As always, we appreciate the work of our justices and the court clerk, Ms. Malinsky. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? And the resolution carries. Regular business number 6, set a public hearing for November board meeting on the local law establishing an interim successor. Now, we had talked about this last month. If the mayor is absent from the village, then the deputy mayor assumes those powers. And we wanted to go a little further down the line. In the event of, an emergency, we hope never happens. So, anytime you pass a local law, it requires a public hearing. So, the law is far from being passed at this time. First, tonight we're going to set the public hearing so we can hear from residents and discuss it further with you. Is the idea to set the meeting for the 19th, the public hearing
Of November, right?
of November, right, which is our regular board meeting? And we want to do that at 7 p.m. or in the workshop proceeding?
7 p.m.
7? Okay. Yes. So is there a motion to set the public hearing about the interim successor law for?
I move the resolution.
Okay, thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Please come and talk to us. Tell us what you think. All in
Yes.
favor?
Aye.
All opposed? And the public hearing is set for
And
November.
I understand this is in the event that neither the mayor nor the deputy mayor is in town, and it would be a third
Right.
person.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's at 7 p.m.?
Yes. Yeah, so it'll be this event next month, 7 o'clock. The next board meeting will be held on Wednesday, November 19th at 7 p.m., preceded by a workshop at 6 p.m. Again, 7 p.m. will be the public hearing here at the Watts de Peister Hall with the regular workshop the preceding Wednesday, November 12th at 6 p.m. Moving on to committee reports, if you don't mind, I'm going to come around at the end and I'll turn it to Trustee Ezrati, please.
Okay. Well, I'm a Johnny one note on this, but we had a very successful street painting festival
Yes, we did.
last Sunday. It was a rain date, which always gives me agita because that means that I have to notify all of the people who are planning to come on Saturday that they should come on Sunday. It was pretty obvious though because it poured from Friday at noon until Saturday at about 10 o'clock. So there was really no choice. And it did not really retard the number. We had 249 registered artists on a rain date. Of those, I do this little tally from the registration forms. 47%, or about 120, 127 people were from Tivoli. So given Tivoli's population of roughly 1,000, the fact that 43% of it's under 24, I don't know how that computes, but it seems to me that we got pretty much everybody who was eligible. And what pleased me was that we had some people who have really loved this as an art form. So we had Andres Sonmion who did Maya Angelou in gray tones, which is a really great one. We had Linda Murphy, who brings a chair with her because she can't sit on the ground as much as she used to, and 7 of her offspring, I think. We had Joel at the corner with our painter laureate. And David Budd, who is, he's into graphic design, and he did a beautiful one of sunflowers with a very, he had a pastel, mortar and pestle, and he broke the chalk up into paste, and he added some sort of medium to it so that it was, I mean, it was, if you didn't get a chance to see it, it was really pretty fabulous. But the other thing I love about this festival, we're now, this was our 14th year, and what I call it is the diaspora effect, because you get, after you've filled in all these forms, you get to know the names, and you see where they've moved to, and that they're still coming back. So for example, we had 8 people from Brooklyn, New York. We had someone from Accord and someone from Kerhonkson. Believe me, that they, unless they were on Facebook, they didn't see the flyers down there. We had 20% obviously from Red Hook, 7% from Rhinebeck, 4% from Germantown. Our Kingston High School group didn't come, but there was still 8 people from Kingston. We had Coxsackie, Catskill, Howes Cave, Carmel, Elizaville, Poughkeepsie, Wallkill, Wall, New Jersey, and Hillsboro, Oregon. So we're spreading out, right? And we also, I've heard there are increasing numbers of chalk festivals out in the hinterlands. So Linda Murphy really planted a seed with the festival. We passed out 20 dozen boxes of chalk. You have to do the math, that's somewhere around 240 boxes of chalk. We had, I always have to do the thank yous, because the people who come out for this festival are truly noble souls. You have to come out at about 7:15 after a rainy day. The sun at this time of the year is barely up, and I have Robert McKeon, Tom Cartier, John Schmidt yelling at me that the paint isn't ready, that we don't have enough paint, and so forth. You have Joel laying out the squares and arguments about whether we're getting the spacing right, whether the numbering is right. I mean, it's an art form, right? We have a map that was done by a niece of mine. She was at the School of Visual Arts in New York, and she put together this map, which has become sort of it's the way we know where squares are. So this year, for example, I had Irene Kuhn, who lives in Stamfordville, comes back every year, who says, I want number 59, 60, and 61. She knows the numbers of her squares, so that's kind of fun. We had a young man, Clay Caledon, who has been cited for making too much noise in Tivoli, and Corky gave him an opportunity to do some volunteer service with us. He had such a good time. He came up after 10 o'clock, he said, this was the most fun, and that actually is part of the spirit of this, because we are trying to get people to know their neighbors, kids to know the people who are complaining about the noise are not such old codgers. They're actually kind of fun, and their kids are worth knowing, so that was fun. My friends, Ed and Mary Hines and Rita Mullally and my daughter Isabel and Robin Bruno manned the registration desk. We were so good at that this year that people who hadn't started their square at 11 o'clock actually got a phone call. Dear, you're not here. People want your square. So they were given a little notice and came back. I'm fortunate to have around me some people who know how to do these things and get them done right. As I said, Tom and Lydia Cordier helped a gentleman by the name of Mike, and his son did a lot of work. Unfortunately, I didn't get his last name and many, many more. Hannaford gave us water. Mead, Montgomery Place, and Migliorelli Farms gave us apples, and they were eaten down to the nub. Mikey Ganella of Tivoli Bread Company gave us breakfast sandwiches to give to all of the volunteers, including a special one for Robert McKeon because he's vegetarian, so it can't have the pancetta or the ham in it. So all of that took place. I have said this, and I'm sorry if I'm taking a lot of time, but I need to give this all out. That Council of the Arts Mid-Hudson gave us a grant for $725, but we had some donations from local businesses that actually exceeded that, and we had some that came a close second. So I have to thank Bard College, Classic Auto, Tivoli Bread Company, gotta hit the highlights here, and in addition to that, Osaka, Ralph's Auto, Patrick Dentico, Troghaven, Hotel Tivoli, good donor, Luna, Santa Fe, and the Lost Sock, and Fabulous Yarn, in addition to a number of individual donors, my favorite of which is Claude Potts, who steps up to the plate every time. So if you're ever tempted to do something like this in Tivoli, be, as you found, Shane, it's a very generous community. And there were 250 people who had a wonderful time as a result of that. I also wanted to notice, very, very sadly, that the Red Hook Observer is closing down, but they did come, and if you had that last issue, there's a wonderful picture of the art. We will have some more photos of the art because we engaged Andy Wainwright, who has really made this festival sort of a part of his regular portfolio, and we'll be posting those on the Tivoli Street Painting Facebook page.
And thank you, Susan, for all your work on Street Painting Day. It was a big success, and I couldn't believe how, even being postponed one day, it felt like that didn't matter to anyone. Everyone still came.
Yeah,
They were like
yeah.
waiting for this, you know?
Yeah,
So,
that
congratulations.
worked us out. I also wanted to say that Robin and I met with the town of Red Hook and Mark Hildebrand about the agreement that we have with the town of Red Hook for fire protection services. They have renewed that support with us, actually increased it by 1.5%. And in their budget, they try to keep all increases to 1.56% in order to stay under the 2% cap that we're all concerned about. So that was very generous of them to keep that in. We had a discussion with them, which it's very important that we keep in mind. In general, Red Hook benefits from fire services from the village of Tivoli. We're contractually obligated to go into, or the fire department has agreed to go into certain segments of the town beyond Tivoli. And what the general agreement is that the town of Red Hook's support should be about 60% of the budget, and Tivoli's support should be about 40% of the budget. So it's important for Tivoli to maintain their fair share of that aggregate cost. And that's the same agreement that we have for the Length of Service Award program. Mark was there. He agreed that would give the fire department a budget that would enable them to make some of the discretionary spending that they need to make in terms of mandated equipment, as well as maintenance and improvements of the fire building.
Right.
Did you want to say anything else?
I think you covered it all.
Okay.
Thank you, Trustee Ezrati. Trustee Bruno?
Okay, yes. Street painting was an absolutely fantastic day.
And your girls did a great job.
They had a lot of fun. So I think you can do anything great when you're having that much fun. And then to have that many, and I guess her, both of the girls' friends and acquaintances at the high school, there was a lot of chatter going on the day
There was
after.
a lot of chatter going on.
Yeah, but
It
even
was-
through the
They
week
were
at school.
so cute. They wouldn't start until everybody was there.
Oh, you have to be
So Chris
fair.
there saying, well, haven't you started? I said, our friends are here. It was good.
No, they weren't going to start until everyone was there. But it was a fantastic day. And Saturday was rainy, but it was beautiful on Sunday. And I did too, and enjoyed being in on the meeting last week for the fire department. And in light of events from the other day, you guys are very busy, Tom. Always, yes, definitely. So last month, I had touched briefly upon that Trustee Schneider and I have been working with Liz Axelson and for the Greenway grant. There'll be a meeting coming up soon with her, and we're just going to keep the ball rolling on that. You probably got all the emails, so we'll be meeting once again. In regards to our park, the DPW has been doing some work in there. The sheds that are there have been cleaned out. The dugouts have been painted. Jim and I are investigating. We really need to get the proper base for the adult handicapped swing before that goes in. The juvenile swing will be taken down and stored for the winter. Facilities in the park will be winterized and closed next week. They'll be closed for the season and essentially before Halloween. Work will continue, weather permitting, and then will resume in the spring. Many thanks to you, Deputy Mayor Griffith, and Justin Tadaldi for striping the basketball courts.
It was all Justin Tadaldi, I have to say. He pestered and we harnessed his zeal, and we said, Village already has the paint. And yeah, we spent about 5 hours on our knees on the basketball court a couple Saturdays ago. Beautiful day. Very carefully, chalk line, measuring tape, and then it's very scary when you have to commit to the paint because you only get one shot. But we got it done.
And you're a painter.
It's a straight
You're
line.
very
It's the
scary.
straight lines that are scary. Yeah,
It has to be straight.
it has to be straight.
It does
So,
have to be straight.
Yeah, hats off to Justin Tadaldi, and it was a pleasure.
Well, it was, tremendous for him to, I know he was just going to do it on his own, but that's what he
Work with
mentioned.
us.
He threatened, but you both did a great job, and thanks so much. Roast beef dinner this weekend at the Legion. It's Saturday, October 18th. Howie Petrick. I actually do not have the phone number, but it is on the Firehouse board for Howie. You could call him for tickets and also details about timing.
You want the number?
Sure.
518-2922.
518-2922, 845 area code?
Yep.
Thank
That's
you very
it.
much.
Thank you.
Put it up, I don't remember.
And speaking of Halloween and closing the facilities, it is right around the corner. The rec committee with, we don't have a lot of people, and with many folks going in many different directions. We are joining forces with the library. It's going to be a small event, but still I think one that many kids would enjoy. Friday, October 31st, 4 p.m. It's going to be a Halloween-themed Lego club. They have many pieces, and they're going to make spooky castles. So they can come in costume, there'll be candy. It's always a pleasure to work with the ladies from the library, and having both sides jump in. I think it'll be small, but yet an enjoyable event for the kids. And that's basically what I have, but just one extra is that Shane, I just wanted to mention again, it was a complete pleasure to work with you, and you worked very hard, and we are so fortunate to have that bench. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Bruno.
Yes.
Trustee Schneider.
Okay, well, I'm going to keep it short and sweet tonight. I will go through the village court report first for September. Let's see, charges received totaled 12, charges disposed totaled 11. A total of $170 was collected and remitted to the state comptroller. Aside from that, I have an upcoming meeting for the Tivoli Business and Artists Alliance scheduled for October 23rd, which is next Thursday, at 6 p.m. in the mayor's office. So if you have not received a notice and you are a local business owner, please be on the lookout. They will be coming to you shortly if you have not received it already.
Thank you,
That's
Trustee
it.
Schneider.
Thanks.
I'll begin with the Water Systems Operational Report. This is for the month of September 2014. Every month, 2 random microbiological samples are taken from the water system. We had one on Spring Street and one on North Road this past month, and there were no violations. And we did have a water main break in front of 18 Broadway on September 6th. This is at the top of the hill in front of one of our pump houses, actually, and it's about 30 feet from a break we had last winter. And from here I can segue into that the village board did submit our community development block grant application to the county. And we had our public hearing last week, and there were no members of the public that came. But we submitted it to replace, as far as the money will go, the water line that goes along Broadway out towards 9G. That choice was made based on discussions with our superintendent of DPW, who of course knows our water system and its fragility quite well. And with the number of our wells actually out that way, that water line is important. So we'll keep our fingers crossed, and hopefully we'll be awarded that community development block grant for that purpose. The Tivoli Community Garden is winding up the season, and once again I want to thank Danielle Ryu and Mara Ranville for stepping forward to co-coordinate this year. I think it was without question our most successful season, and we are moving up registration. We're going to start assigning plots for next spring, November 1st, which is coming up. So if you're interested in a plot, you can send an email to Tivoli Community Garden at Gmail. And also, before then, we all need to get our plots cleaned out. So if you have a plot, time to clean it up. And I'll just give a little update on the Four Corners, which you may have noticed has not transpired since we were here last month. Unfortunately, we were waiting on the final permit approval from the county, and there were some legal issues about various paperwork. So it didn't get done in time for street painting. Fortunately, it didn't interrupt street painting. And I believe that is getting straightened out and should hopefully still happen in the next couple weeks. And again, when that does happen, the contractor has told us it's going to take about 3 days, and there are going to be lane closures at the intersection. There are going to be flagmen. Things are going to be slow, and they're going to be a bit disrupted. So please be patient and give all the workers some space to do their job, and please be careful. And eventually, we're going to have 4 new crosswalks at the Four Corners.
If there are alternate routes that you can use, we suggest you do so during those few days. Make the traffic through there a little bit easier.
That concludes our trustee reports. At this time, I'd like to open it up for public comment. Yes, sir.
Okay, Liz Snyder's report on the highway. Unfortunately, totally ignorant of the whole process. It was extraordinarily vague. I have no idea where it was, when it was, what it was about.
Okay, I apologize.
Unfortunately, maybe we should have looked on the village, maybe it was on the website.
We can explain it to you pretty quickly,
Sure,
I
we
think.
can, absolutely. Last year, we secured a grant to look at the feasibility of sharing highway services between 3 municipalities, those being the town of Red Hook, the village of Red Hook, and the village of Tivoli. We went through a process whereby we reviewed proposals from multiple consultants. We selected a consultant, Rondout Consulting, in conjunction with Fairweather Consulting, to perform the study. They set up a website, and we have had steering committee meetings for the duration of the project. The consultants worked with the staff in each municipality and also with the officials of each municipality to collect information. First, it's basically an assessment of current conditions. So they looked at the different types of roads. They looked at the equipment that we have on hand. They looked at the value. They looked at staffing, what we pay folks, the cost of keeping up, maintaining our roadways and our sidewalks. We also looked at the scope of the study. Should we focus solely on highway services? Should we include some of those services that fall on the periphery? It's been an ongoing topic at our board meetings here, but also through the website that Rondout Consulting established. I do apologize, I am a bit off today, so I don't have everything in front of me, so I can't remember the exact.
For
Couldn't tell.
example, the ancillary services would,
No. So it's been several months ago that the project actually was initiated. And the last meeting, what I was trying to review this evening, was the public hearing that was held at the town hall.
In Red Hook or?
It was Red Hook Town Hall, right. It was about 2 weeks ago. No, I apologize, it was Village Hall that it was held at. And the
Red
notice
Hook
for,
Village.
yes, Red Hook Village Hall. And the notice for that was put out on our website, but I know, it's hard to keep track of all of this.
Last meeting too, though, but we were.
So it was,
Yeah,
really
we had,
know what it
it was
was.
quite a meeting last month, so I do, yes, we did mention it then.
the two villages in the town it's a county grant
It is, right.
to
a
pay
grant
for
that
a
was issued.
study in which consultants come in, analyze the three municipalities' departments, and look for cost savings, anything from
Right.
consolidation to sharing
To trading,
equipment
right.
to et cetera.
Trading areas, obviously we have a conjunction of state, county, and village roads in our particular area. You have the town line that's adjacent to ours. It's addressing things like, even would it be feasible for us to trade off portions? We're closer here instead of having the town come here and us go here.
Yeah.
Can we just swap that?
But-
It's looking at opportunities of sharing staff or sharing equipment. All of the areas of opportunity have not yet been identified.
it's almost expanding on some of the things we already do. For example, the town buys salt for salting the
Right.
roads, and we take advantage of their better pricing.
Purchasing, exactly.
But would that include, would that, in 99G, 9G would be state roads, Broadway is a county road, would it include those roads at all? It wouldn't include them all?
At this point, we are not, we haven't ruled out anything at this point. There has been some discussion as to whether or not we should approach either the county or the state about trading off areas of roadways for maintenance purposes, or even specific tasks such as snow clearing. We were able to identify some areas that we would like to focus on. Snow clearing came up as a big one. Data collection is another large piece that we identified very early on through the study, that we have hands-on guys here, so a lot of our time, staff-wise, is dedicated to actually the maintenance as opposed to documenting the maintenance. So there were opportunities there. Obviously the town has a staff dedicated to that already, so that identified a possible cost savings to us, and also the ability to capture the data about our day-to-day activities. In addition to that, one of the important pieces that's come out of the study, in my opinion anyway, is that it's not an apples-to-apples comparison, because we actually house a Department of Public Works, whereas the village of Red Hook and the town of Red Hook have more of a highway services. So one of the exercises, or one of the
Challenges, really.
it is a challenge, was to identify exactly what we wanted to incorporate in the scope of work as far as the study goes. What options should we focus on specifically? I believe garbage pickup is something that was identified, as I said, that's one of the services on the periphery of highway services. A lot of brush collection, sidewalk maintenance, parks, you know, obviously our guys spend a lot of their time doing a little bit of everything. You know, we are able to tell you that 60% of Jim's time is dedicated to our water and sewer system. Obviously, the town of Red Hook and the village of Red Hook don't have the same ratios as we do. So that's the basic premise behind the study. At this point, we're kind of poised, we're on the cusp of really getting to the meat of where those opportunities lie and which direction we want the study to go in. Our next steering committee, if you will, it has 2 members from each municipality on it. So Sue Crane and Harry are on the town of Red Hook. Brent and Ed Blundell, the mayor, mayor of the village, are on for the village of Red Hook, and then Brian and myself represent the village of Tivoli. So those meetings are open to the public. There's just not an opportunity for public feedback. You can visit the website, Ron Consulting, I believe it's .redhook.org, but we do have a link to it from our village website. And there is a link that you can follow to, again, give your feedback, ask questions. Tim Wiedemann, who is with Rhonda, he's the owner of Rhonda Consulting, really personable guy and very willing to share information and to communicate to everybody about the status of the project. And he's really wonderful at trying to call the participation from the general public. He really wants everybody to be involved. So
it's not going to get the bridge fixing.
I was thinking of your particular concern, and my understanding, and tell me if I'm right about this, Janine, is right now it's town versus village roads and the shared staffing and costs.
that's right. It is
And the
limited to
county
those
road
3
is-
municipalities.
County road
As I
is
said,
not
we
included,
haven't.
but-
It's not.
But it's
Simply
been-
because we don't have the authority over a county road. However, the option to possibly reach out to the county in regard to maintenance of some of the roads that run through the village has not been ruled out at all.
And the county has raised it with us. So they see some synergies there too. Question is whether they'll give us the money.
That option has been, kicked around.
So for example, if we plow Broadway, we can bill the county, for example. But at the end of the study, there'll be, suggestions from the consultants, and then the 3 municipalities can talk about, what, if anything, they want to implement based on the findings. Yeah?
We can't even determine that without public approval. So it's not as if the boards in each village can come, or village and town can come together and say, okay, we're going to do this. It's something that has to be approved by the public before any action is taken. At this point, it is just in the study phase where we are evaluating the information and, trying to identify those possible options.
All right, thank you.
Sure. I apologize for being so vague.
No, I mean, I'm sure a lot of other people would.
It was a good recap, I think. So,
Good recap.
other comments from the public, please? Yes, sir.
First of all, I want to thank the village and the mayor for moving quickly on doing some of the updates to the firehouse. We now have new lighting on the outside of the firehouse. You can see what's going on now. The gutters to be put in next week. They're supposed to be put in, and the rest of it's still a work in process where we got to come up with figures and stuff like that. Things are getting taken care of. Now, on another note, I'll say it again, those buildings, this building, the other building belongs to the residents of this village. Unfortunately, somewhere around October 3rd or 4th, the firehouse lettering on the outside of the building was vandalized. They ripped the letters off the building. Probably $300 to $500 to replace it. I brought it up to the mayor. I called him the day that I saw it when it happened. I told him about it. I suggested that he make a complaint with the sheriff's department. We've talked about it at the firehouse. If we find out who the person is or persons, we are going to go ahead with full prosecution. No slaps on the wrist or anything. It's just not going to be tolerated. These are public buildings. They're our house, and there's no reason to come along and vandalize the buildings. Same with the sign that's out front, that new sign that we had just redone over. That sign cost us $800 to redo it, new lettering and everything else, and coming along and changing the letters to say other things isn't gonna be tolerated. It's private property, it's village property, it'll be treated just as trespassing. We're just not gonna put up with it. We've got pictures and we're doing the best that we can to find out who it is. One of the other options we've talked about, and we probably are gonna do, is put cameras up around the building. Unfortunately, today, I don't know why we have to do that, but the amount of people that come in and out of this village, whether they're residents, students, visitors, or whatever, have no right to go and damage our buildings. So we're gonna be looking into putting cameras up. I know that on Montgomery Street, I've had 2 flags stolen already. I know my neighbor down the street has had a flag stolen. He has a camera system up on his flag. I mean, it's like, this is crazy anymore.
This is kind of unusual, isn't it? This is like, I haven't ever heard these kinds of complaints before.
This is the worst.
The flags have been
This is getting
disappearing
to
for
be
a while.
ridiculous.
It's just this year.
On October 3rd, on that Friday night, if there was not, and I'm not blaming the students, don't get me wrong, but there were over 200 something students walking through the streets. All kinds of parties going on. Our sign was there prior to that, and it's not there anymore. So I can't see, I'm not gonna point fingers. But the other issues we have is across the street within the Exeter Village, is right opposite the firehouse. There is a no parking zone. One of the signs you can barely read anymore, has to be replaced. The sheriffs were made aware that people are parking in the no parking zones, and they
Did we
gave
know if
them
it's
warnings.
painted?
They'll be ticketed for being parked there.
Absolutely. Well, we can certainly replace that sign, but I
Yeah.
believe the village has just been given permission by the county to stripe the actual road.
That'd be fantastic.
So that will help, but yeah, absolutely. I mean, the vandalism is heartbreaking, it's frustrating, and should not be tolerated. So I'm sure this board would support, full prosecution if you can
We're not playing games.
find out what fools are doing this.
It's going to cost the taxpayers money to fix a building that they should have never done anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, I'll try and find out when that striping is going to happen for you, but we have
Yeah.
Yeah.
been
No,
approved.
those
so-
are, thank you for keeping us abreast of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
We were aware of the marauding crowds, but I didn't know that they'd done damage.
Yeah, like I said, you can't blame it because nobody's seen it. I mean, I think the village residents, it is their buildings. If they see something going on, they should notify us, or they should be saying something. I mean, somebody had to see something, and, it took a while for them to rip those letters off. Them letters didn't come off in 2 minutes. I mean,
Well, if it's done at 2 in the morning, I mean.
Well, sheriffs are on patrol too. I mean, we came out to a call
The
that
sheriff
night
is
too,
on
and they were
patrol
out here.
that night.
So, if he's busy down there doing something there, like you say, it could be
Well,
hard.
Joel,
Well, it's
I called on a huge party that was at Free Gallagher's house.
If,
All over the place.
It was that same
it's a
night.
good time to mention that, the village does contract with the county sheriffs. Their phone number is 486-3800, and if you see someone vandalizing the firehouse or there's a loud party across the street, do not hesitate to call them. We have designated patrols on certain times, certain hours during the week, day, night. Those get moved around a bit to sort of increase coverage. But there are zone cars, and even if we are unlucky enough to not have a designated patrol at that time that you see something happening, please do not hesitate to call the sheriffs, 486-3800.
The other thing that notification to the sheriff's department will do is help us identify those timeframes that need extra patrols. So if we have consistent calls coming in at 2 a.m. on a Saturday night, there may possibly be an extra patrol on the following Saturday. So, or 1 a.m. There you go.
I'll tell you all about
So,
it. Other comments from the public, please? Before we get to you, is there anyone else who didn't get a chance? And then we'll let Matthew have a second go. Okay. Yes, sir.
I have a question. I know when we first moved here, the village had a census. There was a certain amount of people living here. I know when the condos were built, it probably exponentially raised the amount. Is there any, I don't know when the last census was done, was that 2010? As it's done
Sounds
every
about
10 years? And is there any breakdown of how many houses are rentals, how many houses are owner occupied, et cetera, et cetera?
I don't know about the federal census, but didn't I just?
I think I've been given the numbers by our planner, and interestingly enough, the actual number of rentals in Tivoli has fallen in the last decade or so, so it's not an increase in number
Every time
of
I turn around,
rentals.
it's more like, even up here.
It's
I'm-
anecdotal.
It really
It's-
feels that way,
it's
but
not-
apparently the
yeah, it's,
statistics
and it's
say
probably
it's
a
about
shift or a concentration that you're observing, but it isn't that much higher. We do know that from the study that was done by the Rondout Group, that Tivoli is the youngest municipality within the township. We have 43% of our population is below 25.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and the
Time for me to move, I guess.
town of Red Hook is 40% under 25, and the village of Red Hook is much older, which I found
Huh.
interesting. It has much lower percentage.
Well, what
under
is the population now anyway? I mean,
20. It's about 1,050, 1,100.
which is fewer than, I think it was like 1,400 something.
No, it was never that high.
No,
I think we're
no.
yeah.
1,119,
And
thank you.
the, and
Oh,
the
thank you.
population, I think, is lower than it was in 1890, higher than it was in
Well, Tivoli was down
1950.
by the river then, so.
Well,
Is that including students?
Dipped Dog.
Is that 1,100?
It's
Yeah.
population, we don't distinguish between
Yeah.
whether they're year-round or.
Okay, I was curious.
Other comments for the board from the public? Seeing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Made by trustee Israedi, seconded by trustee Bruno. All in favor? Aye.
Uh-huh.
We stand adjourned. Thank you, everyone.